Over 45,000 people have already lost their jobs in the tech sector in 2022. And the year's not over yet. That's according to Crunchbase. Big tech leads the way in terms of layoffs and hiring freezes. I mean, we're talking about some of the biggest names in tech. We're talking about Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, SoundCloud, Netflix, Amazon, Intel, Oracle, Apple, and now that Elon Musk purchased Twitter, they're going to lay off probably about 50% of their workforce. So with all these layoffs and with the hiring freezes, should you be concerned? Well, you definitely got to be paying attention to what's happening within the tech industry. But how do we even get here? If we go back just a few years ago, the conversation was all about how there's not enough developers to meet the demands in the tech industry. Colleges, boot camps, and online sites all tried to get people ready for the coding jobs that existed then. So are we now saying that the demand for highly skilled programmers and developers is not there? Or wait a minute, are we saying that AI is finally coming after all of our jobs? The answer is no to both of those. There's still a huge demand for programmers and developers, and AI is not ready yet to take over our jobs. So what is it then? It comes down to the economy. Inflation is going up. If you turn on the news, if you open up your news app, you're going to see that inflation is sky high. I mean, if you go to the supermarket to try to buy a gallon of milk, it's going to cost you more. When you go to fill up your car, that gas costs you more today than it did a year ago. And if you need to get a mortgage for a house, that has gone up significantly. The interest rates have gone up significantly. The Feds just raised the interest rates again, which means borrowing money costs more money. And the reason why the Feds raised the interest rates again is because we're either in a recession or we're getting close to being in a recession. The dollar you have in your pocket, that doesn't buy as much as it used to. And it's feared that economic activity is going to slow down because of inflation. And obviously because people are not going to have jobs. And let's not forget, supply chains are still an issue. And unlike the past decade where companies were able to borrow money very cheaply, they can't do that nowadays. And since the cost of things are costing more, people are not able to buy as much. So companies are feeling the pinch and they're trying to find ways on how they can save money. And part of that is slowing down their research and development. And another part of that is letting people go and instituting hiring freezes. And we're probably going to feel this pain for a while. Now, with 45,000 people in the tech industry all out looking for a job, the competition is going to be great. And inevitably, companies are going to hire people, but they're probably going to offer people less money than what they did previously. So if you were making $100,000 as a developer, you might only make $80,000 or $90,000 now. And if that's the offer you're given, should you take it? Can you afford to take it? Can you afford not to take it? I mean, think about it. If people are actively looking for work and there's hiring freezes and businesses and companies are not in a position to bring new people on board, especially at what they previously paid people, it might be in your best interest to take what you can now. Now, for some programmers and some developers, that's not going to be an option. They're going to say, you know what, I'm going to start up my own little startup. I'll put together my own small business. I'll put together a team. I mean, remember, Instagram would start with just like 11 developers. So we might be looking at a situation where something big is coming on the horizon if the right team of people get together. And then you're going to have some developers and programmers that say, you know what, I'm going to be a freelancer. I'll be a digital nomad. I'll work remotely. I'll work from pretty much wherever I want to. So now does that mean that the freelance community is going to be overly saturated? Is there going to be a lot of competition in the freelancer market? I mean, today we already have a pretty large freelance community, especially over the past couple of years where people have noticed that working from home, working remotely, it's not a bad lifestyle. It's not easy. It's hard. But if you do it right, it can work for a lot of people. So again, with 45,000 people looking for work and a small portion of that going to be in the freelance community, what does that mean? Do current freelancers have to be concerned? Overall, yes, because at the end of the day, everybody's feeling the pinch. So businesses don't have the same amount of money to hire or to bring on or to take on new projects. And then you're going to have a larger freelance community, which means that there's going to be more competition there as well. But if you've been following this channel, you know what I've been saying for a long time, that as a freelancer, it's very important that you're a full stack developer. And the reason is because you're doing all the work on your own by yourself. So you have to know how to put together a whole project. And if you're working for a company, especially a big company, that's probably not the case. Big companies don't hire as many full stacks and instead prefer to hire developers who really know one or two languages extremely well. But if you only know one or two languages, you really can't put together a full project. I mean, it always depends on what you're working on, but if somebody needs a website and you only know 1 or 2 languages, is that enough? Now, if you look at the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, they say that web developers and software engineers are still in high demand and will be in high demand for a long time. Companies are going to inevitably start hiring people again. But these big companies might say to themselves, wait, I have a huge office building that's pretty much empty half the time. A large portion of my workforce works remotely, so why should I pay them the same amount? They might divest themselves of so much real estate and then start hiring more people, but at lower salaries. Because again, if you're working remotely, there's nothing that forces you to live in a high-cost city. If you're making $100,000 or $200,000 in California or New York, that doesn't go as far as if you make the same money but living in a lower cost of living community. So what can you do now? If you've already been laid off, obviously you have to find work. And if you haven't been laid off, then you got to save money. Hopefully you've been saving money up to this point, but you have to save money. And beyond just saving money, you also have to cultivate your relationships in the tech sector. You want to be top of mind when somebody hears of a job opening, because with so much competition out there, sometimes the person who gets to the job first or gets to that business first will end up getting that job. And if you have time on your hands, maybe you want to work on some side projects. Brush up on your skills. Another thing you could do is start teaching people online. Start up a YouTube channel, get involved in some other social media platforms. Make sure your LinkedIn profile and your GitHub pages and your website are up to date. Basically, you want to get yourself ready for when things turn around, because they will. Inflation might be high, the recession might be here or might be around the corner, but programmers and developers have been in demand for a long time and they're still in demand. Alright, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification icon, share your thoughts down below, and as always, thanks for watching and happy coding.